What in the world is this spotted at the European Parliament?
Lahko pogledamo neko degenerično umetnost, neke reptile, ki držijo v rokah družino. Sred Evropskega parlamenta. Le kaj nam želi nekdo sporočiti?
Yeah, very weird stuff. Again, this is over at the European Parliament, and you can see what looks like to be statues of reptoids holding a human family in a box. They say nothing to see here, it's just art, and as you can see, it's on the European Parliament's website, and this art piece is called Family. The description on the European Parliament's website reads, "The sculpture serves as a powerful reminder of equality, self-determination, and individual freedom, as family is ultimately a community of love and harmony among people." But what does this have to do with giant monstrous lizard people holding a family in a box? Doesn't really scream freedom to me. It actually screams the opposite, and it's very telling who's holding the freedom. They always put this garbage right in our faces, and yet they tell us it's just a quote-unquote conspiracy theory.
Sometimes it's hard to tell if this is a real cactus or not, but it's definitely fake. Look at that.
This is absolutely a fake cactus. It's secretly hiding a license plate reading surveillance camera. It's located in Paradise Valley, Arizona. They installed these cacti cameras years ago to catch speeding and other violations. They wanted them to not look like the obvious poles, so they made them these secret cacti cameras. Very clever, very sneaky. If you're wondering who has the contract, it is very likely Flock Safety Cameras. So now the government is secretly hiding cameras in fake cactuses to give you tickets.
Something tells me that this is not just for tickets, and if they're putting cameras inside cacti, what else are they putting cameras in?
So close to our home, I feel nervous all the time just in my own home because I don't know who's listening.
Kat Vaughn says she was walking home from a nearby park with her 2 children when she spotted an unfamiliar device installed on her property just feet away from her home. She later learned it was a Flock Raven gunshot detection sensor, and she says no one told her it would be there.
We didn't receive anything in the mail. I double-checked to make sure that there was no emails or anything about it.
The Flock safety device that was once standing here has now been removed, leaving just a pile of dirt. But for Vaughn, the bigger question remains about how the device was put here in the first place. Back in April, Roanoke City Council approved 75 gunshot detection devices to put around the city.
But Vaughn's address was not on the list presented to council. After reaching out to local officials, the city now says it's pausing installation after learning crews used an unapproved location list.
That was 16 sensors that were installed in the wrong place.
Councilmember Nick Hagan says he wants answers before moving forward.
This raises a lot of questions, at least for myself as a member of council, as to how in the world did this happen?
Hagan says he hopes the project remains paused until council decides how to move forward. For Vaughn, she says she got the resolution she wanted.
Well, I'd love for the surveillance system to be removed.
But questions remain, including how this happened.
Whether grant funding could be impacted and whether city council could decide to stop the project altogether.
And now we're investigating basically how, why, and when did all that happen.
Does anybody honestly believe that this councilman right here does not know how this happened? Watch how he acts.
How in the world did this happen?
And given the fact of the last story where the camera is in the cactus, I wouldn't doubt one bit they took this gunshot detector and just put it in a plant nearby and said they moved it.
I am super creeped out, and I don't think anybody's talking about this. I bought a vibration plate, and this morning, when there was nobody else in my house except for my 3-year-old and my 6-month-old and myself, I was just barely coming out of a sleep, and I heard 2 voices in my house, a man and a woman, and I was super confused because I was just like, who's in my house? And I walk into my bathroom and I call out for my husband and I say, Seth, are you still here? And all of a sudden, the 2 voices that I was hearing, I had located coming out of the vibration plate that I bought. And as soon as I said, Seth, are you here? And I walked into my bathroom, I heard it disconnect. And I'm like, is there a microphone? Is there a video camera inside of this vibration plate that has like a black screen on the front?
These vibration plates are a fitness device that shakes rapidly as you stand on it, lie on it, and is supposed to transmit energy throughout your body. Not just this lady right here, but more and more people are hearing very strange voices to even screams coming out of their vibration plates. The idea is that maybe random people are connecting to the Bluetooth inside these vibration plates, but as people are saying, it is scary when nowhere on the packaging or any advertisements they've ever seen state that this device is equipped with Bluetooth. Why wouldn't they advertise you can play music from it then? That's the problem.
सीमा सुरक्षा बल के खास अतिथि होंगे। बीएसएफ भी सर कहाँ इतना रोक पाएगी? उन्होंने तो अलग अलग वो बना दिए ना, यहाँ पे इनको रोकने का हिसाब किताब किया जा रहा है। तो वहाँ पे फिर वही है सर, बोलना नहीं चाहिए। वो गाजा वाजा में सर वो करते हैं ना, तो वो दलिया बट रहा है, वो लेते हैं अपना। वहाँ पनीर और रोटी सब्जी थोड़ी आ रही है, वहाँ तो वही है ना दलिया, फिर लो फिर
Yeah, we could squeeze leg in real quick.
Are we actually kidding? I just opened the Instagram app to see this pop up. To use Instagram, we need you to agree to the following items. Mind you, all of these things are mandatory. 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 And I can't get into the app unless I literally agree to every single one of these things. There's an option at the top that's it's being cut off, but it's like a 3 little dots, and when you click on it, it just says log out. So they're literally forcing us to give our data away, let them share with other meta companies, cross-border transfers of personal data, location information. All of it is mandatory, and I can't use the app. I can't even get into my account.
That video came from Ashley Burdett, and I haven't used Facebook, Instagram, or Meta in quite some time, but any application that makes it mandatory that I hand over my data in order to use it is an application I will not use. Has anybody else seen this pop up for them too? Please do comment below.
Is it selfish to use air conditioning during a heat wave? That is the serious debate that people in Europe are having right now.
You're not in a care home, you're not elderly. Look at you there, resplendent in your youth. Why do you deserve air conditioning?
Today, the WHO chief said that 1,300 excess deaths linked to high temperatures have now been recorded in Europe. And even more shockingly, the WHO also said that Europe has lost nearly 200,000 people to heat in the last 4 years, claiming that the majority of these deaths were entirely preventable. But just going out and buying AC isn't as frictionless as you might think. Multiple European countries recorded their hottest day ever in the last week, including Germany, which hit an all-time record of 41.7 degrees Celsius. But at the same time, German public service broadcasters are posting infographics like this, saying, AC, what cools us down, heats up the earth. And more air conditioners, more global warming through greenhouse gases. Keeping in mind, many German schools and even hospitals don't have AC. And while some in Europe are rushing to buy air conditioning units and fans, others have decided to cope with the heat in different ways, like using aluminium foil to cover windows and doors, standing under riot police water cannons, or swimming in the river.
I don't need it because I'm young and I can survive this kind of event. It's not a big deal.
It's not a solution. It's going to help to people feel good, but it's not going to help the environment.
I don't think it's a good thing for planet.
But what do you guys think? Is it time for widespread adoption of AC in Europe, or will their impact only make matters worse in the long run?
That video came from Dylan Page, and here's what's crazy. Europe currently has anywhere from 3,300 to 3,400 data centers, with a lot of them being found in France, anywhere between 320 to 390. And I just wonder if the same concerns about the environment when it comes to people having air conditioners are also being applied to these data centers. Probably not. So this what you're seeing here is Idaho in late June. I believe it was June 26th or June 27th. Now, that massive hailstorm that turned into a flood was in places like Boise, but in other locations of Idaho, they had full-on winter storm warnings in late June. Me personally, in all my life, I have never heard of winter storm warnings in late June in Idaho. But did you know over in Idaho and right next to Boise, there is the Boise River Project? Read in the description, it's a cloud seeding with AgL, which is silver iodide, was carried out in the Boise River area, southwestern Ohio, implementing a program to enhance winter precipitation for irrigation water supplies and hydroelectric power production. This has been ongoing since 1992, and as bad as it is, what if one day it gets completely out of control, or it just happens to get into the wrong hands?
It lays the predicate and the foundation for the development of a weather satellite that will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer, ultimately to control the weather, and he who controls the weather will control the world.
What in the world is actually going on with so-called ice cream in America? And why do I say that? Because there's a viral video circulating of a man who didn't care too much for the texture of his so-called ice cream cone. So before throwing it in the trash, he wanted to get rid of the ice cream. So what did he do like many of us would do? He took his cone and put it under hot water to melt the ice cream before he threw out the cone. But what he noticed really blew his mind. Have a look at this video for yourself. Check this out right here.
What is in this new ice cream we are feeding our kids? Is it petrified alien? Palm oil.
Yeah.
It's just not melting. It's just not melting under hot water. And that's allegedly supposed to be ice cream in a cone. He is 100% correct. What is going on with our ice cream? What is inside of our ice cream? So it now is heat resistant. You can no longer run hot water on an ice cream cone and it will not melt. And one big reason why the ice cream is not melting is because of the change of ingredients. And believe it or not, if you look it up for yourself, the ice cream is actually being engineered not to melt. And if you take a look at some of the ingredient labels on what's being sold in some stores, there are now higher levels of stabilizers and gums. Also, higher levels of vegetable oils and fats. And of course, more sweeteners. And one more footnote to point out. Many brands can no longer claim that it's ice cream. They have to label it as frozen dessert. So I guess my question to you is, have you noticed a difference in the ice cream you're purchasing at supermarkets or your so-called frozen dairy dessert? Let me know your thoughts.
A lot of this quote-unquote food has so many chemicals packed into it, it is no longer named what you think you're buying. You think you're buying ice cream. It's not. Because of all the chemicals, it's now a frankenfood, now labeled a frozen dessert or a frozen treat. That video came from the Jody69, and now they are doing this with chocolate.
Israeli bioengineered chocolate is about to hit the markets in the United States. Investors like Cadbury and Mondelez, which obviously owns Oreo, Chips Ahoy, Sour Patch, Philadelphia, even Ritz need to be pointed out. Before we begin that cancel spree, let's talk about the impacts that it has on West African cocoa production and what kind of bioengineered chocolate we're even talking about to begin with. So, Mondelez International has developed milk chocolate bars with cell-based cocoa butter butter from Israeli startup Celeste Bio, in which the Cadbury owner has been an investor since 2022. Like it says right here, founded in 2022, Celeste Bio pairs ag tech and biotech with computational artificial intelligence, of course, to produce cocoa ingredients via cell culture. It selects different varieties of cocoa beans, extracts their cells, and grows them in a bioreactor with vitamins, minerals, water, and sugar. This then becomes a biomass from which it extracts cocoa butter and powder. Keep in mind, West Africa produces roughly 70% of the world's cocoa, if you didn't know. If large manufacturers ship to lab-grown alternative, millions of smallholder farmers in countries like Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire risk losing their primary source of income. Just to give you an idea of some brands that you might want to, I don't know, just stop buying. Pretty crazy, right? It's almost like majority of this probably shouldn't be eating to begin with. But God, if this doesn't sound familiar, I don't really know what does.
That video came from Beauty Mert, and again, everything's becoming a frankenfood. These are not chocolate cookies you're eating, but a chemical cookie. But I never trusted Oreos anyway. You ever see those symbols on the cookie?
As a chef, I'm going to tell you, if you knew what I knew, you would never eat anything that came out of a drive-thru again. In fact, you would probably never eat any restaurant that was a Cisco food service delivery restaurant. Have you ever thought about why you'd never see the word chicken on KFC's menus? You see nuggets, tenders, you'll see drumstick, you'll see thigh, but never once, not even on the sign, will it say Kentucky Fried Chicken. It simply says KFC. That's because it's so genetically modified that they can't call it chicken anymore. Also, you ever wonder why when you drive by the Golden Arches, it never says anything about 84 billion burgers sold? It says 84 billion people. I don't know. Maybe it brings a whole new meaning to kids' meal. Just throwing it out there. As a chef.
That video came from the Journey 76, and that really makes me think of KFC's slogan, finger licking good. There's hidden meanings in these slogans. Just look at their commercial where they're turning people into chicken tenders.
You still don't know the disturbing theory behind the world's most famous statue? Pay attention till the end here and you're never gonna look at it the same way again. So, do you know who this is a statue of right here? It's called the Lucifer of Liege, made in 1848, formerly titled La Genie du Mal, which translates to the genius of evil, and this is exactly why. Because if you try to search up the origin story of the Statue of Liberty, it gives us, well, the common history we all know of Lady Liberty in NYC. So I head over to Emergent to build us something that can help us explore these hidden theories of the world history doesn't talk about. Build me an interactive 3D map of the world that allows us to explore the alternative theories of famous sites and monuments for entertainment purposes only. My lawyer told me to add that part. And 1, 2, 3, just like that, it created Archivum Terra, a map featuring those uncommon theories of the world that we all love. Okay, let's zoom right into New York City so we can find, there it is, the Statue of Liberty. Let's see where this rabbit hole takes us. Because this is a statue of Lucifer, a fallen angel from heaven, commonly depicted as the devil who rebelled against God and was banished to earth. And this statue in particular, the Lucifer of Liege, has some unmistakable details that feel very intentional. So the crown that Lucifer is holding here is one with 7 points, allegedly symbolizing the 7 deadly sins of man, which just so happens to be the exact number of points found on the crown of this Statue of Liberty. Coincidence? Maybe, but oh, we've barely even grazed the tip here. Because you might notice the Lucifer statue is also chained by the ankle, a symbol of his eternal imprisonment in the earthly realm. Surely, the Statue of Liberty, representing, you know, freedom and liberty, has no reason at all to be imprisoned too now, right? Apparently, no, because that is exactly what we find at the foot of Lady Liberty. A chain holding her down on the pedestal she stands. Liberty, definition, the condition of being free from confinement, servitude, or forced labor. So it totally makes sense to have a lady representing liberation to be chained by the ankle like some sort of prisoner. Don't question it now. And is this even Lady Liberty? Just have a closer look at her face and tell me if you see it too. I don't know about you, but the features aren't exactly all that feminine. Here it is while it was still under construction, and here's the face of another statue of an actual lady for comparison. Do you see a difference here? Because now this is a famous painting of Lucifer, or Satan, from 1797, and well, here's the viral side-by-side comparison of it with Our Lady Liberty, and the resemblance resemblance is uncanny. Never mind a man, she straight up looks like the devil himself, who at the base of the marble Lucifer of Liege seems to have dropped a scepter, a torch, as Lucifer, the name, translates from Latin to the bringer of light. The bringer of light. Do I really need to explain that one? Even more, beside the scepter in the statue, there's an apple, almost seemingly at random, just sitting there with no context. And what is it they call New York City, the host of the Statue of Liberty, the big what now? But hey, you know, we're probably just reading into things too much as per usual, with Lucifer also alternatively translating to morning star, a star being the shape that the Statue of Liberty happens to rest on. All very interesting and mildly disturbing connections and coincidences to a figure that is commonly portrayed as the devil. Or maybe, you know, we're just being silly. Entertainment purposes only, right? That was quite the brain tickler, now wasn't it? And if you want to build maps of the hidden theories behind famous sites and monuments, or just about any other app idea you can come up with, check out Emergent for the best and easiest way you can do it yourself with just a few prompts.
That video comes from Phil's Pixels. What's also interesting to know is that you would think the statue of Lucifer is something unique to the United States, but actually, multiple countries, more than 15 countries, have a statue dedicated to Lucifer.
I think we've all heard of these deep underground doomsday bunkers that have been built by some of the wealthiest people in the world. And I was thinking about this again today. Why do some of the richest people in the world have these bunkers built? Do they know something we don't? Are they worried about some massive event that's going to happen? Or are they just being cautious and having these places built because they can afford it? Now, this doomsday bunker idea isn't some fringe thing. The most mainstream media you can find, like here, has been talking about this for years. About the rich and powerful building these bunkers. Jeff Bezos supposedly has more than one. So does Elon Musk. They even say he's got one built in New Zealand. So I'm not saying some big event is going to happen and they know about it. My opinion is that they know about things we don't. Not necessarily end of the world type stuff, but something that could be a threat. And since these huge billionaires have the money, the time, and the land, that they're having these secure underground bunkers built just in case. That's just my opinion. But we do know for a fact that these bunkers exist and some of the richest people on earth have them.
That video came from the great Joe Giuseppe, and I do think one of the main purposes behind these data centers is to funnel a lot of the resources, the waters, to the grounds below for their underground bunkers and their underground civilizations.
Real honest question for you about these surveillance cameras that are tracking cars and tracking people. Today it's said to be just used to help track down criminals. But what is to stop the companies that are running these surveillance cameras that track people? What is to stop them from eventually reselling that data to other companies who may act as a privatized social credit score company? I mean, we already know there are companies that are doing social media background checks just to apply for jobs. And that is reselling data, or at least scraping data to find out the activities, thoughts, and views of people. Is there anything that could stop this? I know one of the most talked about companies happened to remove part of their "we will not resell the data" from their policy relatively recently. So, any lawyers know the answer to this? Is there anything that could stop these companies that are collecting massive troves of data on each and every one of us from reselling that towards potential companies who may act as future social credit scores? This is completely hypothetical, but it's something we should all be thinking about, especially those who say, if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear.
That video came from Respect Your Tech Talk, and nothing is stopping them. The only thing that stops them is their word, and I don't think anybody believes their word that they're not going to sell your data. This all plays a very important role when it comes to this digital ID. Medical, insurance companies, borrowers, authorities will all have your data in one way, shape, or form. And again, it'll all be centralized under this digital ID.
Okay, you guys, over 2/3 of the Great Salt Lake has completely vanished, okay? It's evaporated. It's gone. There's only 1/3 of the lake left. And what's even more troubling now is it's becoming a dust bowl. And inside of this lake are chemicals, mineral chemicals, man-made chemicals, all sorts of chemicals. And these dust storms that are coming now because there's no water and it's so dry are reaching Salt Lake City. And they just had a warning yesterday in Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City, I think, ranked 5th worst pollution in the world as just for yesterday's pollution levels. But I think 5 counties in Utah were in the top 10 polluted airways in the world because of that dust bowl and what's going on in Salt Lake. And if you don't know what's going on in Salt Lake, look at one of my last videos. I posted what it looks like. There's a girl standing in it. And it's literally like standing in the Nile River in the middle of dry season in Africa. But you know, at the end of the dry season in Africa, the rains come and fill the river up again, the Nile River, and it's full again. That's not going to happen here because these are microclimates. And once the water's gone, it can't produce rain or snow. Utah, we're thinking about you because we know they got their eyes on you for that data center too. Kevin, the guy from Shark Tank, he wants to build a huge data center where there's a drought and fires and the lakes are disappearing. Are you kidding me? Kevin O'Leary.
That video came from Todd is Talking 2.0, and again, they don't care what's going on above as long as everything gets funneled and resourced down below.
Everyone's talking about right to repair, and Illinois is banning old cars, but nobody's connecting the dots. So let me do it for you. A few days ago, I showed you the TCU telematics control unit inside your car. That's recording your driving data and selling it to insurance companies. GM just got hit with a federal lawsuit for it. That video had over 300,000 views. But here's what's happened since. Ford filed patent to read your lips, scan your iris, monitor your heart rate, and run your face through a criminal database inside your own truck. It's not a conspiracy theory. That's a published patent from Ford Global Technologies. At the same time, automakers are lobbying Congress to make sure you never access your car's electronics. The Repair Act was supposed to give you the right to your own vehicle data. They gutted it in a committee, stripped the telematics provision completely. And now Illinois just passed HB 4948. 2 speeding tickets in a year, you're forced to install a speeding tracking device for $30 a month. And you have to have that for 3 years. And if your car is older than 1996, guess what? It doesn't have the port. You can't comply. Your license is suspended and you're fucking done. The patent, the surveillance, they lock you out of your electronics so you can't disable it. They sell your data to insurance companies. They make it illegal to drive anything they can't monitor, and then they kill the classic car market in the process. It was never about safety. It was never about emissions. It's about control and revenue. And if you drive a 57 Chevy or 69 Mustang or anything built before computers, they want you off the road. Share this before they bury it.
That video came from after the Uniform 6, and they want to make sure every person is driving a car that has heavy AI surveillance. And if you don't, you will be taking public transportation, and this just won't stop at Illinois, but all over the place. We can see it with these junkyard fires, all these older car parts going up in flames so nobody can fix their older cars. This next news is crazy. Over in Urbana, Ohio, there's this data center company called Thor Equities, and it's kind of interesting because they always have the name of gods. But they are suing the small city because the city came together to halt this massive $1 billion data center from coming to their location. And even though they're fighting back and halting this massive data center, this data center company is still buying up millions of dollars worth of land.
Company looking to put a data center in Urbana purchased another 100 acres of land near the planned site.
This follows the city of Urbana attempting to pass an ordinance that would stop the development. 2 News reporter Evan Bales is in Urbana with the latest developments.
This land behind me is another 100 acres that was bought by a development company for $3.5 million looking to put a new data center in. However, a city ordinance that could pass tonight might upend those plans entirely. After around 2 years since land was first purchased for a new data center, Ordinance 4634-26 could prevent it from even breaking ground. This new measure would remove data centers from being permitted under zoning distinction M1, which already allows uses like light manufacturing and office buildings.
We don't need that data center because
I don't feel a need or anything like that. I don't think it's really going to benefit the city at all.
Residents say they're also puzzled because Thor Equities, the developer heading the project, had just purchased another 100 acres for $3.4 million adjacent to this first parcel.
These kinds of things are pretty troubling, but we live in an environment where sometimes these big companies with a whole lot of money get what they want.
Vitale says the final of the 3 parcels, one that was owned by the county, is currently locked under a contract for another year before they can take back control.
My only hope, we've consulted with several attorneys. We are doing everything we can to not sell that land.
I reached out to Amy Jumper with Urbana City Council in regards to the land purchase and ordinance being read Tuesday night. She responded saying in part, quote, "My responsibility is to represent my constituents and make decisions that protect the long-term interests of our community," end quote.
Here at Urbana's fire station tonight could be the third and final time this rezoning ordinance would need to be reviewed before it's officially codified. I reached out to Thor Equities and the city of Urbana's mayor, and neither responded. Reporting in Urbana, I'm Evan Bales, 2 News.